strengthen.
President Kenyatta welcomed the restoration of Kenya-Somali diplomatic ties and called for an amicable resolution of the maritime border dispute. The president underscored the importance of stability in national and regional development, saying economic growth is only possible in a peaceful environment.
And for us, our second home is also Somalia, because at the end of the day, we are neighbors, and we need to be able to understand and to live with each other. So we're welcoming not just a friendly country, but we're welcoming a brother.
On his part, Prime Minister Roble regretted the recent deterioration of relations between Kenya and Somalia, saying it was an error for the two nations to forsake the vision of unity held by the founding fathers of the two nations. He acknowledged the historical relationship that exists between Kenya and Somalia, saying the friendship is based on good neighborliness, cooperation, stability, and mutual respect. Kenya and Somalia had been engaged in a bitter diplomatic tiff after Mogadishu accused Nairobi of meddling in its political affairs.
Consultative meeting with a cross-section of political party leaders to discuss several subjects touching on the state of the nation. Now, during Tuesday's meeting, ODM leader Raila Odinga, ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi, Kalonzo Musyoka of Wiper, and Moses Wetangula of Fort Kenya, as well as KANU party leader Gideon Moi, discussed the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on the country and how to revamp the economy, as well as the importance of maintaining peace, unity, and national cohesion. Also present at the State House meeting in Mombasa was Kakamega Governor and ODM Deputy Party Leader Wycliffe Oparanya. Going to learn what else was discussed in that particular meeting there. Remember, earlier over the weekend, President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM party leader Raila Odinga were ensconced in a hotel in Mombasa, and the former premier was quoted saying that whenever they meet up with the president, it doesn't need really to be publicized. So what was discussed in yesterday's meeting? We are soon going to learn of it, because I'm sure one of the politicians may just come up and tell us what was contained, or rather what was discussed, other than what we were told by the presidential communication unit there. Now, crossing over to the legislature, where the National Assembly has accused the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission of sidelining Parliament in the gazettement of the election financing guidelines. Lawmakers on Tuesday argued that IEBC erred in gazetting the guidelines before the National Assembly considers regulations for Election Campaign Financing Act. As Kevin Washira reports, MPs are questioning the math behind IEBC's proposed 40 billion shillings election budget.
Justify the 40 billion shillings budget they are requesting for general elections. National Assembly Public Accounts Committee interrogated the spending of IEBC in 2013 and 2017 general elections and gave an adverse report. The Watchdog Committee's chairperson, Opio Wandai, argues the 40 billion shillings IEBC is asking for is too much.
So the Kenyan taxpayer, of course, through their parliament, deserves to see an itemized budget, line by line. If there are issues that can be knocked out, you should propose them to be knocked out. If there are issues that can be scaled down, they need to be scaled down.
What we have on the budget is 26 billion. What IBC is asking is 40 billion, which is possible for it to be given through supplementary budget.
Garsen MP Ali Wario, dismissing the IBC budget request, called for postponement of general elections on grounds of COVID-19 surge.
Hizo pesa itumike kuwapea Wakenya chakula, kuongeza madarasa na pia kupigana na mambo ya corona, janga la corona. Kwa hivyo uchaguzi isongeshwe mbele.
Well, on that note, we take a quick breather. Remember, you can give us your feedback in regard to that particular issue. Are you a proponent of the postponement of the general election, where the countdown stands at 363 days to August 9th, 2022? Or do you think we can do better when it comes to the budgetary allocation in regard to our ABC? They say they need 40 billion. The budget has 26 billion. We'll be right back.
Kumwalia madonge mpaka unchafuka kiasi hichi.
Si ni wewe na mpenzi wake huko. Hapa bwana, jisikie uko nyumbani, unakaribishwa Zari anytime. Asante. Karibu sana.
Kwa hivyo kila siku mimi na wakili tutakuwa tuonana
Come on kids. Hilo si lilikuwa ni swali, sasa mjadala ni wa nini?
It's either about me or nobody at all.
I'm sorry. I'm not following this. Where did you last have it?
Maswala yako peleka polisi huko. Sawa, ninachotaka hapa mimi ni mkufu wangu. Period.
What does this number mean to you? A pack leader? A winner? Or just a number? To us, it means freshness, boldness, vibrancy and heritage. That's why at KBC Channel 1, we make it easier for you to pop up your family entertainment to a fresh, exciting and colorful bouquet.
You're watching Good Morning Kenya right here on KBC Channel 1. Thank you for making time. Before we took that particular short break, we're asking your views in regard to what a few legislators were saying yesterday, that some are proposing that we postpone the general election slated for August 9th, 2022, which is 363 days away, on account of, the economy as well as the COVID-19 situation. What is your opinion in regard to that matter as far as the general elections are concerned? Coming at a time when IEBC has already gazetted the financing guidelines ahead of that particular political feat, saying that their budget is at 40 billion shillings. However, the budgetary allocation to cater for those particular general elections, or rather that particular general election, is at 26 billion shillings. Your take? You can tweet us at KBC Channel 1 News. Now, focusing on matters of politics, Kilifi Governor Amason Kingi has been removed from the position of chairperson of the Orange Democratic Movement in Kilifi County and replaced by Ganze Member of Parliament Teddy Mombire. Kingi, whose political persuasion has been a subject of serious scrutiny, has however welcomed the move.
Kingi's stay in ODM has been thrown into serious doubt after his 9 years stint at the helm of the party in Kilifi County came to a screeching halt on Tuesday. The Kilifi governor, who has been slowly gravitating away from ODM, has welcomed his ouster. In a statement, Kingi said he is proud having steered the Orange Party to great success in Kilifi County. Over the last few months, Kingi has been championing the establishment of a political party which he says embodies the ideals of the coast region.
Kile kitu tunataka kuleta ni chama cha kisiasa ama muungano wa kisiasa wenye asilia ya hapa pwani. A national party or a national coalition ambayo ina kitovu chake hapa pwani. Kwa hivyo ikiwa ni chama, ikiwa ni coalition, haitakuwa tu na wagombezi hapa pwani peke yake. Itakuwa na wagombezi hata Nyanza. Itakuwa na wagombezi hata Western. Itakuwa na wagombezi hata Central. Kwa hivyo hii si mambo ya kusema kwamba hii ni mwavuli ya pwani, itabaki pwani. La hasha. It's a national movement, lakini kitovu chake, chanzo chake, fikra zake zinatoka ama mizizi yake inaanzia katika sehemu hii ya pwani.
The governor has, however, been silent on his national political future. Two political parties with roots from the coast have been reportedly registered, namely Pamoja Alliance and Kenya Democratic for Change. The parties have been issued provisional certificates by the Registrar of Political Parties. PAA is reportedly linked to the Kilifi governor. Meanwhile, the Federal Party of Kenya has settled on gospel artist and presidential aspirant Reuben Kigame as its flag bearer in the 2022 general election. Speaking in Eldoret, Kagame said his candidature offers an alternative in the race with hope of being the 5th president of Kenya.
My desire to step out and be counted in 2022 as a possible alternative candidate for the 5th president of the Republic of Kenya. I know it looks and may sound unbelievable because it's not every day you see a blind man stand to say he wants to be president. It is going to be history, even if it happened, and I believe it will.
We are in the season indeed when it comes to posturing as well as alliances ahead of the general elections. But there's been varied opinions on the August date. The Constitution as it stands is explicit that the general election must be held on the second Tuesday of August every 5 years, which this time round will fall on the 10th of August 2022. That happens to be yesterday. So exactly a time like now, next year, we'll be keenly watching the feed in regard to who has cast their ballot and how many votes go to person X or Y. But is that particular date the 9th of, or rather the 10th of August 2022? cast in stone. John Jacob Curia dissects the situation.
The Constitution of Kenya, in both Articles 101 and 136 respectively, states that the election of members of Parliament, County Governor, MCAs and the President will be held on the second Tuesday in August every 5th year. Furthermore, Article 102 of the Constitution says the term of Parliament expires on the date of the next general election, but its time can be extended for a term of not more than 6 months at a time, but should not be extended for a total of more than 12 months. Does this then mean that the date of a general election is cast in stone?
If Parliament moves with a 2/3 majority, if the courts are convinced the reasons as to why the election can be pushed ahead, then that can be accommodated. But I don't think with the polarized type of politics that we have between the Tanga wing and the Keleke wing and the ODM wing, that is likely to succeed.
This country is governed by the rule of law, and there are certain provisions that provide for the extension of that date, but I don't think you can arbitrarily just wake up and say that we will extend it. But who knows? Those who sit in these offices and those who are mandated with decision making will make that decision at the appropriate time.
The election date of this country is in the Constitution. Starting from the time of the inauguration of the Constitution, 2 terms for the presidency, and comes back to 9th August 2022. That date is set in the Constitution in terms of numbers. You can't change a 9 to be 10. It's 9th August of 2022.
With the COVID-19 situation and especially the Delta variant ravaging the country, proponents of a postponement of the election argue that the country is battling a dangerous and unpredictable pandemic that would warrant a postponement. In fact, the African Court on Human and People's Rights mid-last month appeared to give an okay to the postponement of an election owing to the COVID-19 pandemic, but giving a rider that political actors, health authorities and representatives of civil society be consulted to ensure an inclusive approach to the process, with consultation focusing on the measures necessary to ensure that elections are conducted in a transparent, free and fair manner.
There is no legal basis for postponing on that ground unless we domesticate that judgment into our laws, or maybe a party goes to our courts and it seeks domestication of that judgment.
When we were still under the pandemic, we've had several by-elections. I don't have to mention them: Kiamba, Mogoga. Even yesterday we had a member of parliament who was sworn in after being elected during the pandemic. The constitution of this country is not political.
5 general elections worldwide have been conducted under COVID regulation. There was no vaccination when the American election was being conducted. Yet, Trump did the elections and he lost. Biden took over. Elections have been conducted all over, in Tanzania and in other countries. So I don't see any justification for a delay of election.
In an attempt to throw a spanner into the works, former nominated Senator Njoroge Ben Paul now wants the IEBC to declare the second Tuesday of August 2023 as the date of the next general election. Njoroge claims President Uhuru Kenyatta, having been sworn into office in November 2017, his 5-year term expires in November of 2022, and the only other available August, as stipulated in the Constitution, is in 2023.
If we wanted to follow those numbers, why didn't we say that the Constitution has been inaugurated on 24th August 2010, so the 2 terms begins on 24th 10 2010, Kibaki would have begun his first term on that day and continued for 2 terms.
The bodies that are in place, the judiciary, the executive and the parliament, they are empowered to come up with strategies and policies on how to ensure that things run smoothly as provided in the Constitution.
The president, then governors, hold office until new leaders are elected, so their terms will be substantially secured. Therefore, Mr. Joroge's argument, in my view, does not merit.
The judiciary might not agree with this senator who has gone to court, but he has valid reasons if we go according to the calendar days since the president was sworn in. But that is a legal lacuna that is likely to cause another big problem, more problematic than the BBI.
All right. But preparation of the election seems to have set sail, with IEBC presenting a roadmap to drive the process to its material day. Told of any lacuna, President Uhuru Kenyatta has nominated 4 individuals to fill the vacant commissioner positions in the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, making the commission duly constituted.
There are different schools of thoughts, but all these have to be done within the 4 corners of the existing constitution.
The next general election is 1 year away. The ideas of postponing the election will most likely end up in courts of competent jurisdiction and the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. For Kenyans, it's a matter of wait and see, hopeful that the election will happen on the second Tuesday of August, the year 2022.
Well, I hope that a discussion there, or just elaboration by John Jacob Kerry in regard to where, or rather what the law says in regard to our constitution date, has helped you just put matters into perspective there, with even lawyers coming saying that where we stand right now, that is a lacuna. It presents a lacuna in law because the gentleman who's going to court has a valid reason if we go by the calendar dates in which the president was sworn into office. If we're doing the numbers, then that leaves us an option as provided for in the constitution, and that is next year but one to fall on this particular second Tuesday of August every 5 years. So are we going to have our election in August 2022, the 10th? Time will tell. Let's cross over to matters of business, where communication, social media, mobile money, entertainment and content creation were top 5 users on mobile handsets after the COVID-19 struck. This is according to the latest 2021 Kenya Digital Economy Report that indicates that mobile money use increased after restrictions were enforced to contain the spread of COVID-19. As Alan Aoko reports, the COVID-19 pandemic accelerated adoption of digital services.
The COVID-19 pandemic created immense business opportunities for those in the digital space. If findings from the latest 2021 Kenya's Digital Economy Report is anything to go by, the report says that travel restrictions imposed in the country forced people to explore what they could do with their gadgets. Use of mobile money increased, perhaps due to a waiver on sending up to 1,000 shillings for the better part of 2020, as well as the travel restrictions.
Mobile money growth has catalyzed innovation as well as development and usage of other services and applications. However, it is our prerogative to entrench ourselves as champions to inclusive transformation.
The movement has been a bit accidental, caused by a global pandemic. So, things moved a lot faster. They were moving at a certain pace, and around about March, April last year, we had a shift in our lives that have caused us all to do more online.
The study found that 25% of Kenyans are basic digital services users who use USSD codes or SMS for basic mobile money services. It further indicates that fraud and digital safety, as well as Huduma centers, are helping deepen Kenya's digital penetration.
You can't just bring an innovation unless there's a foundation, and then Kenya embraces this digital foundation, whether that's an infrastructure, digital, basic skills, connect the devices. Hence, there's that foundation, and then innovations are coming in.
The other top digital services uses that increased during the lockdown period included for communication, social media, entertainment, creation of content, and for seeking information.
The level of access that is happening within the country, and there's a lot of work to be done to make sure that there is equal access of ICT services across the entire country. So the opportunities are there and the work is there, and it's really well cut out for us according to this report.
When you think about the digital economy, of course, you probably be thinking about the corporate entities in big cities like Nairobi, Kisumu and Mombasa, but there's a rising opportunity in the rural areas where people there are yearning for that technological gap touch that will enable them to enhance their financial inclusion.
Matters agriculture, horticulture and coffee earnings lifted Kenya's total export revenue to a decade high in the first half of this year. Data from the Central Bank of Kenya shows the country's exports in the first 6 months of this year increased by 16.3% to 368 billion shillings. Despite the record earnings from exports, Kenya's imports rose fastest in the period to 992 billion shillings.
Vegetables, cut flowers and fruits rose 30.8% to 73.1 billion shillings, while coffee was up 22% to 16.1 billion shillings in the 6 months to June 2021. In the period, Kenya exported goods valued at 369 billion shillings, which is a 10-year high despite challenges brought about by COVID-19 pandemic. The earnings represent a 16.3% increase from 317.1 billion shillings over a similar period in the year 2020. Most of Kenyan exports were to Uganda, Tanzania, United Kingdom, Netherlands and Rwanda. Uganda was the biggest market for Kenyan exports. Kenya exported 24.2 tons of coffee worth 16.1 billion shillings during the period, according to data from the Central Bank of Kenya. In the period under review, Kenya exported 335 tons of horticulture valued at 68 billion shillings, up from 51 billion shillings in the year 2020. Tea earnings remained flat at 63 billion shillings after production dropped 298.5 thousand tons in the first half of the year 2020. However, despite the record half-year earnings, the gap between imports and exports expanded due to increased imports of crude oil, machinery and materials for factories. Kenya bought goods worth 992 billion shillings, a gap of 623 billion shillings from 460 billion shillings in the same period last year.
Crossing over to the world of sports, Kenya's representative in the shot put at the forthcoming World Under-20 Athletics Championships are hopeful for clinch medals at the championship set for August 17th to the 22nd at MISC Kasarani, Nairobi.
In the boys and girls categories respectively. Maureen will be the sole girls representative and is eyeing a podium place at the championship. The 19-year-old who once turned out for Football Kenya Federation Women's Premier League side Ulinzi Starlets is relishing her chances at the World Meet.
Najua si rahisi, so lakini kuna ile kani tu na motisha tu kuwa naweza. Najua tuko nyumbani, so lazima ukiambia naweza.
Her counterpart in the field event, Dominic Ipotich, who picked up shot put 6 years ago, says he has a target of winning at home with his current training focusing on boosting his technical edge.
Shot put naona iko na improvement, iko na nguvu sana, nitawakilisha Kenya nilete medali.
Kenya will also feature in javelin as its second field event at the World Under-20 through Martha Musai and Wilson Letunyei. Musai, who clinched gold during the 2019 Africa Under-20 Athletics Championship, is confident of finishing among the medalists at the Nairobi meet.
Tumetoka watu dunia yote, so nafaa nijikakamwe niweke 50-60 juu wanahema hapo.
Meanwhile, Poland is the first team to arrive for the 6-day event. Poland's javelin thrower Eric Kolarczyk led his other two teammates in light training session at Moi Kasarani Stadium.
This competition is very important for me and for my family, for my national team from Poland, for Poland.
Now, six-time Ballon d'Or champion Lionel Messi has agreed to join Paris Saint-Germain, that is PSG, on a 2-year contract. The deal, which has the option of a third year, is subject to a medical report. Now, the 34-year-old Argentinian captain left Barca as the club he has never played for, has always played for, and as they were unable to afford a new deal under the La Liga's financial fair play rules.
Messi, who will receive a £25 million sign-on fee as part of the move, was set to extend his 21-year stay at Barcelona by signing a new 5-year deal last week. However, the club announced on Thursday last week that financial and structural obstacles meant the deal could not be completed, meaning Messi left as a free agent. Messi is now set to join PSG, with their potential to compete for major trophies including the Champions League, understood to be a key factor in his decision to move to France. Messi is also believed to be keen to reunite with Neymar, with whom he won 2 La Liga titles, 3 Copa del Reys, and the Champions League during their time together at Barcelona. He will become PSG's 4th free transfer signing this summer after the arrivals of Netherlands midfielder Jorginho Wijnaldum, Spain defender Sergio Ramos, and Italian goalkeeper Gianluigi Donnarumma. Highly rated Morocco right-back Achraf Hakimi also joined from Inter Milan.
That brings a couple to our news. Remember, you can get further details on our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. For now, we take a quick breather. When we return, we're going to be sampling what has been captured on our various dailies this morning. Do not go away. We'll be right back.
De una forma diferente, de otro modo.
I can't believe this. I just can't believe that Max would let himself get carried away with my wife's issues and let himself get dragged into this mess. Jeez.
Oh, I believe this is now starting to look like it's a crime of passion.
There's no crime of passion here, officer. My brother didn't kill anyone.
This is only temporary, and we'll get Max out of there eventually.
Yes.
We'll find someone else to blame, so don't worry. Yes? It's all under control.
How could you even say that? Max didn't kill anybody.
I know that, and I believe him. But still, I know. We all know he couldn't stand Horacio. You know that.
Quiero amarte de una forma diferente, de otro modo, nunca igual al de otra gente.
Rich forever, yeah, yeah.
So let the music play, it's a natural high.
And when troubles come my way,
keep it open and bright.
Draw me to the new biggest island, and the people in irate. I stop on the scene and them say, here Rasta. I speak gold and green and them say, here Rasta. Turn up the radio and turn up the music. None shall escape your judgment. There's no way, there's no way out. You take Babylon. There's no escape route. There's no escape route. There's no shortcut out.
Hayawi huwa mbiu ya mgambo imelia, na kwa kawaida ikilia kuna jambo.
Mgambo uliopo hapa ni rumba kavacha, odemba na sukus.
Tutakupromoshea midundo motomoto ya Afrika, iwe kutoka kaskazini, kusini, magharibi na hata mashariki.
Rumba is here in your living room.
Na popote ulipo.
This is Bridge of Congo.
Nzambe ya sambe la kati, ako sambe la nani.
Right here on KBC Channel 1. Where?
So this is actually our focus this morning, an image of how Manyanja Road looks like. But before I take you through what has been happening on that specific route, let's just quickly take a look at the traffic flow there. And this is the exact area, not so bad, at least at 32 minutes past 7 a.m. As you leave areas of Donholm, Jacaranda, coming to the city center, those are just some of the estates along this specific route, as well as many other estates along the same route. Also, one of the key reasons to why perhaps this specific road, aside from just the numerous estates along the route, or the various estates residents that tend to use this specific route, especially coming to city center or even outer ring, or as well as Jogoo Road, is also the fact that there's quite a number of businesses along the same route, just as Jogoo Road, and this in terms of small scale as well as medium scale kind of businesses there. But clearly right now moving at a very swift pace. Just as you leave the roundabout there, before you get to the Donholm roundabout, is where traffic begins to slightly build up, hence that orange color. But at least altogether a manageable kind of traffic on that specific area is next to the Manyanja Business Center. Clearly also one of those areas where it's a bus terminus. Again, that is also the same concept in areas where it's next to a bus terminus, quite a lot of businesses as well. This is basically what we'd expect to see because of the kind of ongoing activities around that area. So just particular along this stretch in between there is where there's a bit of a traffic, but at least altogether, like I mentioned, a manageable kind of traffic. So clearly if you're coming from areas around that is Donholm, Jacaranda, as well as those various areas that I've just mentioned there, this is again the best time for you to just leave your homes. And this is specific if actually you're coming to the city center, because also Jogoo Road does not look that bad, given that it's also one of those busy roads there. As you leave City Stadia around about, still coming through the estates there, also as you leave areas around Mombasa Road through Outer Ring, Thika Road through Outer Ring, and also Outer Ring Road itself, coming to that specific route as well, not bad at all, moving at a very swift pace. So I'll be running you through a bit of how this particular process or progress of this road began. But at least as of now, that's how the roads are looking like in terms of traffic. Like I mentioned, today we'll just be keenly focusing on what is happening along this route, which is Manyanja Road, as well as a bit of what will be happening along Jogoo Road.
In the headlines, where we get to have a quick look at what the papers have for us this morning. 4 different dailies. I have a copy of the Daily Nation. Remember, you can always be part of this. Share with us your thoughts in regards to some of the stories that we are going to be highlighting for you. Talk to us on Twitter. The hashtag is Good Morning Kenya. At KBC Channel 1 is our official station handle, and our individual handles are at Victor Alo, at Dorina Range, at Ray Manyara, and at Jane Wamboi. Now, starting off with the Daily Nation. Quite a number of stories have found their way here, starting with the 2 stories there on the header. Number 1, failure to get vaccines has consequences, and this is more so on civil servants who have been given up until the 23rd of August to take the COVID-19 jab or face disciplinary action. What are those actions, you ask? I will be giving you those details in a bit. The other story here on the header says money no obstacle as PSG reunite Messi with Neymar. That's a story that, had people talking, especially when Messi gave his last remarks during that press conference. And coming to the main story here on the front page of the Daily Nation, Ruto allies face axe in cabinet changes. Now, the leaders also held talks on a flag bearer to take DP into the 2022 State House race. And this was the meeting that was attended by Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka, Musalia Mudavadi, Moses Wetangula, and Gideon Moi, as well as President Kenyatta, who met them in State House in Mombasa. We are yet to get the proper details from this meeting, but we'll be telling you how it has been captured here on this particular daily. Then there is this story concerning Deputy CJ Philomena Mwilu, where the court told off 20 million deals, and now the court was told that Deputy CJ engaged in suspicious financial activities at the Supreme Court parking lot, her office at the building, and her home in Kilimani 7 years ago. And this also ties with this particular story here on the back page of the Daily Nation. Nation, where Chief Justice Martha Koome, in a meeting with Interior CS Fred Matiang'i and Police Boss Mutiambai, seeking to accord judges the same privileges as MPs, where they cannot be arrested within the precinct of Parliament, and so these rights and privileges should be accorded to the judges as well, because we have seen from previous instances where DCI have stormed into the judicial space and arrested some of these judges who have been suspected to be involved in some of these activities. Coming to the last story here on the front page of the Daily Nation is the story of 15 Comorans who went on a 2-day tour, but it turned out to be a 22-day ordeal out at sea. Details coming up in a bit. Vic.
All right. So on the front page of the Star newspaper here is 2022 is yours to lose, Uhuru tells opposition chiefs. 2022 is yours to lose, Uhuru tells opposition chiefs. New alliance and single presidential candidate in the offing. That is what's making on the front page of the Star newspaper. Yesterday, President Uhuru Kenyatta met Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya, Musalia Mudavadi of ANC, ODM leader Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka of Wiper, Ford Kenya, party leader Moses Wetangula, and Senator Gideon Moi of KANU, and they had their 5-hour meeting in Mombasa. And now, new alliance and single presidential candidate in the offing. Now, Kenyatta's strategy, Kenyatta urges rivals to join hands against his deputy in the 2022 general election. Right. So Jubilee is instilling fear in critics, says DP Ruto. Deputy President William Ruto has asked leaders to compete on issues, programs, and development track record. Ruto said yesterday that it was time politicians desisted from engaging in state tactics of threats and coercion. That, he said, will not work. He said that intimidation will always have a shelf life. And in 3 months' time, all this will come to pass. All right, so again on the front page, parents believe Magoha directive on fee refund will be ignored. Parents believe Magoha directive on fee refund will be ignored. What are they saying? The Kenya Parents Association Chair Nicholas Mayo yesterday said that despite Education CS George Magoha's efforts to outline government's set fees, head teachers remain defiant. Now, in July, the ministry set fees for national schools at 45,000 shillings and 54, and county schools at 35,000 and 35 shillings. Now, Mayo says that the directive comes as a reprieve, but fear that they will have zero execution in many schools. So that is the fear from the parents as per the directive from the Ministry of Education. So this is it. Get COVID-19 jab or be disciplined, Kenya tells government employees. There's something that's also been making headlines on several newspapers here. Civil servants who have not been vaccinated against COVID-19 have until August 23rd to do so or be disciplined. All right, so you have that from your boss. If you don't get vaccinated, you are going to face that disciplinary action. So, heavy seals off LSK offices, but Wambua won't budge. There is this issue at the Law Society of Kenya offices between LSK boss, between the factional wars continue to rock the Law Society of Kenya, this time over access to its offices. Now, one group is led by Society's President Nelson Harvey, and another is led by CEO Mercy Wambua. And yesterday, there were some scuffles in the offices where it's alleged that goons stormed that place, and they then changed the door locks and the gate padlock. When Wambua and the Secretariat staff reported for work yesterday morning, the new guards denied them access. Okay, so we will take a look at that story later on in our next discussion, just to see what is happening at the Law Society of Kenya. Doreen.
where they're supposed to get their jab, and the directive was on or before 23rd, or risk some punishment there. So perhaps I'll be telling you also how the PD has covered that particular story and what is set to befall them if at all they do not get to do that, because again also a good number of the civil servants have actually come out to complain saying that this directive, the way in which it's being enforced, is not in the right way. All right, coming to politics right now is One Kenya Alliance leaders, inclusive of ANC's party leader, that is Musalia Mudavadi, as well as his other counterparts, are now adamant that they will only work with Raila as an equal partner. But the president, that is Uhuru Kenyatta, tells them time is running out. This story this morning, well cut out from page 4 through 6 of the PD, so clearly just perhaps taking a good chunk of the paper, well detailed, highlighted, and I'll be telling you about that in a short while. And also, as we keep talking about elections coming in on 9th of August 2022, and we keep saying that when we gear up towards elections, new parties are formed, new alliances are formed. Some of the parties that had been in the cold, resurfaced back, and that is the case with PNU. If you can remember that particular party which plots a revival after a decade in the cold, and a series of events to relaunch former President Kibaki's re-election party are set to climax on its 14th anniversary on September 16th with new officials. What does that mean for that particular party there? When it comes to the corridors of justice, hardcore burglar with more than 20 cases arrested again. That is actually a lady, Lavender Akinyi, who has more than 20 cases just against her. Which cases are these? Why did it take so long for her to be arrested? Details of that coming in a short while. Coming to matters education, we still have that particular article there whereby the state has ordered school to refund extra fees, and also in the same breath urging school heads and principals not to send students who have not paid fees home. And remember that we had this particular story also last week whereby we were saying, it's a bit of a tussle because this is what the government is saying and this is perhaps what the parents are saying. So also I'll be highlighting for you how that particular article has been written there. And when we stick to still matters education, right now education officials chief start hunt for candidates yet to join Form 1. So for those that were eligible to join Form 1 and haven't yet joined, that is what education officials are now doing, trying to see how best they can get them to schools. Ray.
Now it seems the scribes have been reading from the same script on the three dailies that we have sampled. So let's get right into the details. I want to take a human interest angle, and this is in regard to the two brothers, that is Benson Jiro and Emmanuel Mutura. This is a story that took the country by storm. Mainstream media as well as social media was abuzz with the news of their killing. And this particular article on the Standard this morning has just given us a breakdown as to their last moments for the three brothers. On Sunday, they go to the shopping center to open up their new business that the family had come together to just start up for them before going back to school, or a resumption of college in September. One was pursuing law, the other one was going to be pursuing solar engineering, so to speak. So at around 4 p.m., the mother calls them and tells them to bring home some cash. And this is from their pork business, which was doing well. At 8 p.m., the mother, that's on Sunday first, calls them and tells them that they are in Kianjokoma and would be home in 20 minutes after meeting up with some friends. 8:20 p.m., the mother calls Emmanuel, who assures the mom that he'll be home in a few minutes. 9:50 p.m., the police arrive at Kianjokoma Market from Manyata Police Station, which is about 5 kilometers away. 10:16 p.m., the mother calls the boys, but their phones are unreachable. Fast forward to Tuesday, August 3rd, where the family files a missing persons report at 9 p.m. and at 9 a.m. and at 10:20 a.m., the family is informed by the OCS that the two suspects jumped from a moving police Land Cruiser and died. In this particular article, it has captured a witness report who has requested not to be named or owing to worries about concern about their security. And I'd like to read it as it has been captured. I will talk to you if you promise not to record me or put on the media for security reasons. That's according to an eyewitness and a resident. So he was at the market on that fateful day. The police arrived at their usual to enforce the curfew some minutes after 10 p.m. The two boys with their friends were walking home at about 500 meters from Kanjokoma. On spotting the police, people ran in different directions. Mutura could not run fast enough, and a police officer hit him on the head with a baton. And this is according to the witness. They say at some point when Jiro heard the cry from his brother, he turned around. And when he turned around, running back to his brother, he ran into angry officers who clobbered him. The police panicked after they realized that they had killed Mutura and dragged him and his brother, who was now unconscious, to the front seat of the said Land Cruiser. Other persons arrested at the back watched in horror as the officers strangled Njiro on the way, as he was a witness by then. After dropping the people at the station, the police said after dropping the people at the police station, and this is according to the witness account that has been captured in this particular article, the Land Cruiser left the station with the two brothers. This is when the bodies could have been dropped at Njokere Forest. Now, according to an autopsy report that has been released last Thursday, indicates that Njiro had multiple injuries on the head, the ribs, and the limbs with hard bruises, while Mutura had head injuries from a blunt object. So, your guess is as good as mine, and justice needs to be served. Now, bringing or rather roping in my colleagues this morning, you have heard what this witness has said. We have read what the autopsy report that was made public last week has said. So it's it coincides, or rather there's quite some correlation between the witness account and the autopsy report. Speaker Justin Muturi has said that witnesses need to come out and report this particular matter, or rather give their witness account to the Independent Police Oversight Authority. This comes at a time when we are all skeptic if indeed this family is going to get justice. So there are about 9 witnesses to the ordeal, but none is willing to come out to give their witness account because they are scared and they do not trust the security apparatus. So my question is to my members here, Victor, Jane, and Doreen. From where you sit, we've heard the IPOA asking the general public to come out and, give their accounts when we are looking, or rather in the quest for justice. But the willingness and the trust, or rather mistrust, when it comes to security agencies, it often affects justice. Do you think this case is going to be different? Let's start off with Victor.
Well, I just hope we've this story we've read, we've heard so many theories behind it. One sad part about this story is that one of the gentlemen was pursuing engineering course, the other one was taking pursuing law. So you can imagine these are two brains who have just been, just been allegedly murdered, and their bodies dumped in a very bad situation. Now, this is a situation here. The police are saying that they don't know what happened to the young boys, but according to the witnesses, they were arrested after they were caught flouting the COVID-19 the curfew hours. But then the question is, if somebody is caught flouting the curfew rules, what is the best thing to do? All right. For example, if we've seen so many clips of police officers rescuing drunkards who, found themselves sleeping in the trenches late in the night, and they are escorted home. All right. So the question is the work of the police officer during curfew hours to torture or to protect, or rather even to escort you to your home? That is the question. Because first of all, you have to ask someone, okay, it's 10 p.m., where were you? It's as simple as such. It's always good to have that conversation. But if you're combative, then we might end up getting in a situation where, People are now hating the police officers because of such kind of cases. The trust between the public and the police officers will continue to widen. While in the real sense, that gap should be as tight as possible, because when there's a problem, the next person you should be able to run to is a police officer. But as it is, police are saying that they are investigating the matter. All you have to believe is that something will be done and justice will be found for the family, because those are 2 lives lost. Even one is one too many.
It's one too many. And
Yeah.
this takes me back to the other story we had of the Kanjo workers who battered this hawker because of failing to pay up some money that they demanded.
Actually, it was allegedly 100 shillings.
Allegedly,
yes.
100 bob.
Yeah.
And now, in this particular case from the autopsy, the bodies of these beautiful young boys had bruises. That, in all honesty, there's one account that says that they jumped outside the moving police car.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, that there's body bruises. My question is, do these bruises align with a jump from the back of a moving Land Cruiser?
Yeah.
Question number 1. And then tying with that particular incident that happened last week with the city council workers, Kikuyu and me keep saying Kaju, with the city council operatives, could this be another replica of what we saw last week with that particular case? Because of failing to pay up some money, they took matters into their own hands, and this gentleman lost his teeth. Could this also may have been something that happened? Well,
yeah.
To some extent, and this is just my personal opinion, I'm inclined to think that perhaps that could be the case, because
just to interject, Dee, Ray, you did mention in one of those accounts they were taking some money home that they were told to bring by the mom.
Yeah, actually, report has is that that day they sold pork. During their free time, they do some business, and they had 10,000 shillings. That's according to their uncle who narrated the story. Said that they had 10,000 shillings on that particular day from the sales of the pork that they do, so that they could raise school fees.
Imagine. And the way I was saying is that to some extent, like I said, this is my own personal opinion, I'm inclined to think that perhaps that was just the case, because if you're found on the wrong, and let's just say curfew hours are curfew hours, and if you're found on the wrong, what does the system say? What is justice? Take this, let this person be arraigned, let them be charged. Why are they having bruises in their, on their body, just on their bodies, just because they flaunted COVID-19 protocols when it comes to curfew? Reports have it that when COVID hit us in the country and all these measures were put in place, then number of death cases that have been recorded as a result of police brutality outweigh. There are so many of them, and perhaps maybe I'd want to give our justice system the benefit of doubt and perhaps believe that these 2 young men will actually get justice, because also the video that was going around of the mom crying, I mean, it's just so heartbreaking seeing not 1 but 2 of your sons with hopeful futures, man, just you have to bury them. And this is a parent having to bury 2 young souls like that. I think, I don't know if I could say it's our government or our system, but sometimes some form of humanity just needs to be with these officers, even as they arrest you, on the wrong or perhaps otherwise, because sometimes it's just otherwise. You're just found in the mix and you're taken, and that's how you lose your life. So I think maybe we need to look into how our justice system looks like, because I mean, we'll actually keep having these conversations, and the sad part is that the kind of convos we have is only of reported cases. How much more of those that actually go unreported?
Good question. As they say, justice delayed is justice denied. But in as much as we want to give the legal arm as well as the enforcers, and that is the police force, a benefit of a doubt in this situation, why did they let the demonstrators and protesters ban the said vehicle that would have provided
evidence that Njiro and Mutura were actually in that particular Land Cruiser? Food for thought. That brings a cap to matters in the headlines. Remember that we are still live. You can reach us on Twitter at KBC Channel 1 News, at Doreen Arange, at Victor Law, at Jane Womboy, and at Ray Manyara. Have a pleasant viewing.
ujipange mpaka unchafuka kiasi hichi.
Si ni wewe na mpenzi wake huko.
Hapa bwana, jisikie huko nyumbani, unakaribishwa Zari anytime.
Asante.
Karibu sana.
Kwa hivyo kila siku mimi na wakili tuko tuonane.
Come on kids. Hilo si lilikuwa ni swali, sasa mjadala ni wa nini?
It's either about me or nobody at all.
I'm sorry. I'm not following this.
Where did you last have it, eh?
Maswala yako peleka polisi huko. Sawa, ninachotaka hapa mimi ni mkufu wangu, period.
Travel comes in different shapes and forms. But what's important is getting out there and off the beaten path. Learning about different cultures. Getting that adrenaline pumping whilst taking in nature's beauty.
Muchas gracias. Bene, bene. Beautiful.
This season, we're proud to show you our home, that being Kenya. All this and so much more, only on Zurura. Find your adventure.
Get the VIP access to the best shows on KBC Channel 1. We have something different, something special to spice you up. Get ready for new, exciting and captivating dramas. Movies.
I love the smell.
Comedy.
I went to the popos. Huh?
Drama.
Did he assault the queen in my house, in my presence?
News, sports, and so much more. Do the things that make you happy on KBC Channel 1.
A.m. How about we take a quick look on how our roads are looking like in terms of traffic, and it's about that time where I run you through the progress of that particular stretch which we are looking at today, or better still, which is our focus this Wednesday. And this is it. This is actually how Manyanja Road looks like now. Over the past, if I can mention, even just about like 2 to 3 years ago, and even up till now, and even continuing even past this year, we've seen a lot of ongoing roadworks, either spearheaded by Kenha, Kura, NMS, just various bodies, all this trying to just make these roads look better, passable, easy for pedestrians as well as car owners, both in public and private. And you've seen that in the city of Nairobi and even beyond. Even as we speak, we still have a lot of ongoing roadworks, clear indication of perhaps why we keep seeing a gridlock on most of these roads. But I mean, it's all for a good cause, because like I mentioned, this is actually how Manyanja Road look like. It's one of those busy roads. We clearly saw that from the traffic flow, the first link when you looked at that particular stretch. And one of those busy roads, because of the kind of estates, a number of them kind of businesses, like I mentioned, especially small scale and medium scale businesses, also quite a number of them. And so clearly those just going by that, one of those major reasons why we would perhaps see heavy kind of traffic. So when the outer ring road was being expanded, at least making it perhaps one of those major roads, and also clearly one of those major roads that have really undergone an expansion here in the city of Nairobi, there were also roads that benefited from that or were in that category when the outer ring road was being expanded, and key among them was this particular one. So Manyanja Road was undergoing what we call recarpeting, and that was also inclusive of trying to make sure that there were easy ways, designated lanes for pedestrians as well as those in vehicles. Because just going by how this stretch looked like, I mean, look at how it was. so difficult to even try and see where pedestrians or cyclists, could pass through, because there was that one major road or main road that was being used by all of these persons, which was a clear reason for heavy kind of traffic. But right now, this is actually how the stretch looks like right now. So just going by, those ongoing roadworks there, we have well-designated lanes, the center lane, well put for vehicles. On the farthest end, we have a specific lane for cyclists as well as pedestrians. So just trying to do away with this and coming to this to reduce the traffic flow along this route. And also part of what we've been seeing going on most of our roads when it comes to either reconstruction, recarpeting, rehabilitating, or even expansion altogether, depending on how they want to design a particular route or road, there's non-motorized transport system is not missing. And just perhaps to make you understand, for those that may not really have an understanding of what that means or it entails, it just simply means that now we have, going by this design, we have well-designated lanes. So we have main roads like this one in points for vehicles, both public as well as private. We have a specific lane put aside for cyclists, just cyclists, and we have a specific lane for pedestrians. All that in a bid to reduce on the traffic flow, because like I keep saying, the concept is the same. When you have the main road such as this one being used by all these persons, then obviously, just going by what also we are seeing, this is how the situation looked like. Definitely would have the heavy kind of traffic there. But when you have clear lanes like this, that is all that is just in a bit reducing the traffic flow, because again, we definitely know the kind of impact heavy traffic has on our economy. So this is why we're checking this particular stretch, try to see how this transformation altogether impacted as well as reduced traffic flow, because that is why all this was happening anyway, to reducing the traffic flow there. So quickly just see how the stretch is looking like, perhaps from this roundabout where the road begins. That is the B Center roundabout. Not so bad. They are moving at a very swift pace. The beauty is that this is actually on both lanes. So clearly, again, if you're coming from this side, those estates I mentioned earlier, or if at all you're coming from areas around Outer Ring Road, from Thika Superhighway via Outer Ring, or even Mombasa Road via Outer Ring, or City Center, as you come through Jogoro to the same stretch, clearly, again, the best time for you to do that, moving at a very, very swift pace there. This continues all the way past the roundabout, the B Center roundabout, coming through the same stretch, which is Manyanja Road, as you head over to the Donholm roundabout. Actually, the route is just in between these two particular roundabouts. The B Center there, as well as the Donholm roundabout. Where there's a bit of a gridlock is slightly as you head over to CBD, just near the Donholm roundabout. There's just where things get thick a bit, but at least altogether manageable kind of traffic. Ultimately simply means that we do not need to look at any alternative routes, at least as of now. Also, Jogoro, not that bad, but perhaps in the next link up segment we'll try to look at that particular stretch and also try to see if at all we might need to look at alternative routes, if at all there'll be heavy kind of traffic there. But right now, just at 5 minutes past 8, that's how it's looking like in terms of traffic this morning.
Thank you, Doreen. And we are just having our light conversation here with the gentleman, a man from that area that probably you never thought of, but is here making headlines across the world. I'm talking about Daktari Ekuru Aukot. Mheshimiwa, thank you for coming.
Asante.
Right. And today on The Viewpoint, we just want to focus on, matters relating to politics. It's time is running out. And the politicians right now, as we always say, there is no time left for them, including him, as there's no time left, and they're trying to catch up, fix those loose ends to make sure that come 2022 on the 9th of August, or unless otherwise, then everybody will be up and running. So let's just get straight into it and start asking him by this question. Does he support, which team do you support? Now that Barcelona is now left, he's left Barcelona, Messi.
I'm not a football enthusiast.
Allah?
Yep. So I rarely watch football. The only football I watch is during the World Cup.
Yes, and that's it.
And that is it.
Mheshimiwa, let me just start by asking you this question. This issue at the Law Society of Kenya.
Yep.
Back and forth, and being an established, lawyer in this country, how does it make you feel from your point of view?
Of course, I feel very bad. I'm a member of the Law Society of Kenya. I've been in the council of the Law Society of Kenya some times back. And I know that the Law Society of Kenya, as Kenyans must know, has a constitutional and legal responsibility in this country pursuant to the Law Society of Kenya Act, Section 4, to help Kenyans on matters governance. So when we are that disorganized as lawyers, as professionals, when I saw the kind of violence I saw, is it yesterday, it breaks my heart that if we lawyers who are actually supposed to be the champions of democracy, human rights, cannot put our house in order, then I think we are not even able to undertake our legal mandate as explained, specified in Section 4 of the LSK Act. So it's a very unfortunate situation, but it shouldn't surprise you that what's happening at the LSK has, of course, an external hand. Over the years, the leadership at the Law Society of Kenya has almost become akin to the kind of lackluster leadership that we have in the political arena in Kenya. And many times you'll find that there are factions being sponsored by either political formation in the country, the other political arm of, the political players in the country. So I have never understood why there is always an interest from the political class to interfere with a professional body. I think Law Society of Kenya could learn a lot from, for example, ISPAC. I've seen the way ISPAC, the Institute of Chartered Public Accountants of Kenya, the way they do the election, they don't even campaign. They actually, you present your name online, you get a token, you vote, electronic voting, and it's done. But if you see the way we do our elections in LSK, we have probably now become worse than political parties.
Why so?
I don't know what the interests are. If you read in between the lines, of course there is the Harvey side that is putting a case that millions of Kenya shillings disappeared from the Law Society's account. They are not accounted. Then there is the other side that's saying let's not account for this money. There is no money that is lost. So of course clearly there is an interest in the money. And I remember I attended the last AGM, not the special one, but the normal AGM, I think is in March. And I remember we pushed as lawyers, we say that some of us pushed, why don't we have a forensic audit of our accounts so that we can settle this issue once and for all. But I was surprised there was even some senior lawyers who are totally opposed to us doing a forensic audit. And I thought, we lawyers, we run, actually every law firm or a lawyer practicing law must run two accounts. Your office account and what they call the client's account. And you are required, even before you apply for your practicing certificate, to present books of account. So I think in a nutshell, it's unfortunate what's happening at the LSK, and I hope that we can really put our house in order pretty soon, so that we can then focus on more important things actually, such as, for example, our mandate specified in the Law Society of Kenya Act.
And moving, because as we are in this political dispensation period right now, LSK will play a pivotal role. And when that the house is completely in order, then most people not have trust with you people.
Well, it's not just about us. I mean, we should also say that we don't have trust in new media, or don't have trust in Kenyans. We don't have trust in the political class.
So in other words, we don't trust ourselves as Kenyans.
I think we just need to. I think we just need to say, okay, begin to interrogate, our value system in this society. What really drives us. When we don't really do things the right way, even in the political. Look at what's happening in the political arena. It's almost a reflection of who we are as a society. Look at the ethnic mobilization going on towards 2022. It isn't healthy for the country at a time when we are dealing with, like, say, a pandemic, like this COVID-19 pandemic. Nobody's talking about, for example, the 7 million jobs that and small businesses that collapsed last year. Nobody's talking about the rate of unemployment. Nobody's talking about the problems that Kenyans are going through daily. I mean, I know today there are people who cannot put food on the table. People who cannot, afford treatment, medical treatment. Just sending their kids to school. Children are now going to school, and I know many people who are struggling; they can't even afford. Just transportation alone. So this is the conversation, in my view, that we should be having instead of us preoccupied with these 2022 is yours to lose, Uhuru tells opposition chiefs, or these coalitions, who is going to win. I think we are getting our priorities wrong. And the reason we are getting our priorities wrong because we don't really have a leadership in the country.
Yeah. And you believe Third Way Alliance is the choice to bring that leadership?
Absolutely. And if you had really, if people had followed us from 2017, looked at our manifesto and the promises that we had made to Kenyans, and the kind of policy directions we needed, our proposal, for example, to end theft of public money, we ran away from the word corruption, because even in your own mother tongue, I'm sure, you can't find the word corruption. But if you say somebody is a thief, you can actually relate to it. If I give you money to build a road and then I cannot account for that money, you have literally. Yes, that's theft. So we had the proposals on how to end theft of public money, how to streamline leadership in this country, how to take the youth and women into forming government, how to end economic and social injustice. That was all clearly specified. And over and above that, fast forward, even after election, we never stopped as a party. We came up with a proposal to amend the constitution called Punguza Mizigo. And in Punguza Mizigo, we are addressing a raft of many things that was going to uplift the lives of Kenyans. For example, we said that it's about time. We asked us a fundamental question. Why is 80% of our natural resources, our natural revenue, remaining up here to be controlled by a tiny minority of people, when the majority of Kenyans down there, the 47 counties of Kenya, are getting only 15%. And that's how we came up with the idea of the Ward Development Fund. And we wanted to use the ward as a primary unit of accelerating development. So that once you pump money into all the 1,450 wards of Kenya, then you are able to quickly equalize Kenya. Then you are able to revamp the economy. You can imagine if, for example, even 50 million alone, even just a minimum of 50 million going to all the 1,450 wards. Within, say, a county, the 47 counties of Kenya, that already tells you that there will be a lot of economic activity happening within the 14 wards. And that is the quickest way to actually equalize and bring equity in Kenya. Equity in Kenya cannot be brought by amending the constitution as per BBI to accommodate some tribal chiefs or regions up there in government. In fact, that's a burden on Kenyans. We also spoke about how we can end corruption in this country. And we said that, why are we not using the forensic, the Auditor General report? And in our proposal, we had said, let's create a special department called the Forensic Department within the Auditor General. Forensic auditing is actually the gathering of evidence for a criminal trial. Okay? So that when the Auditor General releases the report, you have no excuse as DPP not to prosecute people who have not accounted for money, because all the evidence will be there. And all I need to do is put the auditor or the accountant on the stand and ask him question. Did you audit so and so? What did you find? What are the supporting documentation? And within a short time, we can actually send people to jail. You will recover money. In our proposal as Punguza Mizigo, we are going to save about 3.6 trillion.
3.6 trillion
from corruption.
That is almost the entire budget.
It's more than the budget of Kenya today. We are going to save all that, because after all, I mean, we looked at corruption or theft of public money as a serious issue, as a serious human rights issue, because the president himself has confessed. It's not a Kuru Aukot saying it. The president has confessed.
The 2 billion
we lose 2 billion daily. Every day. And we look at the audit report, we are losing 700 billion annually. Okay? So that's why for us as Third Way Alliance we said corruption in Kenya or theft of public money is actually almost like mass murder. When you steal money meant for hospitals, you're basically denying somebody oxygen. You're denying somebody blood transfusion. You're denying somebody medication. So you're actually a mass murderer.
And currently you deny somebody a vaccine.
Exactly, vaccine currently. And therefore that's why we said we really must punish theft of public money severely. Send people to life imprisonment, or and actually bar them from running for public office. Those were among the proposals in Punguza Mizigo Kenya, including now, we are going to 2022, we are talking about the cost of election in Kenya.
40.9 billion shillings.
Exactly. Our proposal was very simple. If today 25 million Kenyan users comfortably transact money from their phone, M-Pesa, 25 million Kenyan use M-Pesa, and I can trust to send you now 300,000 Kenyan shilling or 200,000 from my phone. And I'm comfortable. That's how we do business now. We have gone electronic. What is so magical about voting online? What I need to do is just go down, drop down button, so and so, unarani wapi, MP, governor, nini, just pop,
transmit.
It's gone.
Yeah.
That will reduce our cost of election in this country, and we will rechannel that money into other serious development.
But perhaps it goes back to what you said, we don't trust ourselves, and probably we don't even trust the system and the institutions we have.
Because you see, right now, what are we preoccupied with as a country? We are preoccupied with a few individuals who have been in government for the longest time, for decades. We are talking about coalitions, okay?
Yeah.
Let me give Kenyans a perspective. Political coalitions, as they happen elsewhere in the world, are meant to drive a national agenda.
Not a political party.
Not a political parties, not individuals' interest.
Right.
They're supposed to drive a national agenda. And I'll give you two examples. Israel is very well known for political coalitions. When, for example, the Likud party cannot form a government of the day to drive its agenda, it looks for a partner in the other political parties who have got similar approaches to them. And the idea is we come together, we form a party that a government that is legitimate within the constitution.
Right.
Then we drive agenda that will serve the Israeli people. Israel is very known with that. You saw what happened to Benjamin Netanyahu when he was not able to form.
He lost
after like 12 years as a prime minister. Britain, the last government of Britain with David Cameron, when he could not form the government by law, he approached the Liberal Democrats. And he told them, I think we are sharing similar policy issues about serving the British people. Let's come together and we drive this agenda for purposes of British people. Now, let's come back home. When we talk about political coalitions, first of all, there is nothing called political coalitions in Kenya. We are talking about coalitions of individuals who have got self-interest. Let's go back memory lane. You know, the problem with Kenya, sometimes we don't even read about our own history. Let's go back to 1997. 1997, Raila Amolo Odinga, who we are still talking about even in this 21st century as a coalition partner, I don't know with who, joined KANU with he had a party called NDP. He went into coalition with KANU at that time. The intention was not to drive a national agenda, it was to try and kill KANU from within. That coalition collapsed. In 2002, we had NAC. They came together. They had no national agenda. The agenda was, how do we defeat Moi? How do we remove Moi from power? How do we defeat Uhuru Kenyatta, who was a project of Moi? Saizi, you hear Kalonzo saying, my only business is to beat William Ruto. That is his agenda. It's nothing to do with Kenya. But the only reason they are going into this coalition is, how do we stop the deputy president now, Ruto, from 2022? You can see there is no national agenda. So in 2002, we had NAC. They could not even complete for us the constitution-making process. You remember, after the 2005 referendum, they all went their different ways because it was about personal interest. 2007, we saw another coalition government. You saw people complaining about, we don't have the same power, we are being, nothing, personal interest. 2013, Uhuru Kenyatta and Ruto come together. They were all suspects at the ICC.
Jubilee Party.
Coalition. It was then not
TNA and URP.
TNA and URP. They came together. Why did they come together? They came together and they politicized their trial at the ICC. They said, let's bring the Kalenjin and the Kikuyu together. But I've never even seen them take a trip together to Kiambaa, symbolically to just say, Kiambaa became the epicenter of mass killings. Let's even build a memoriam to try and heal Kenya. Never seen that. They came together as a coalition because they wanted to preserve themselves in government. Okay? Wakavumiliana hiyo ni kama tu bibi na bwana kuoana, lakini mna mashida zenu, but you still mnavumilia tu. Aya, 2017 again they came together, tuko pamoja, now Jubilee. And you saw the promises we are being given. In 6 months, Kimarini Stadium. In 9 months, 3 million jobs. Your children will get, all lies. After 1 or 2 years, you can now see what's happening. Wamesambaratika. Because they have achieved their interest of re-election into the new term. After that, they had no common agenda for Kenya. Mara, they started with the Jubilee Manifesto. We don't know what that manifesto was all about. Then they moved to Agenda 4, the big 4 agenda. We don't see what that is. From there, they moved to BBI. We don't know what that is. Right now, we are talking about 2022. We have forgotten about Agenda 4, Jubilee Manifesto. Let's go to the other guys called Oka. They now Kikui's joke and they're calling them Okaha. Kuja hapa tuungane. One Kenya Alliance. Look at the senseless thing about One Kenya Alliance. You are breaking NASA. Why don't strengthen NASA? Why break NASA and then form another coalition called One Kenya Alliance? And then you are saying the reason we are not, we don't have faith in NASA is because of Raila Amolo Odinga. Raila Amolo Odinga did not start NASA. Actually, NASA was a brainchild of Musalia Mudavadi.
Right.
Okay?
Yes.
And he invited Raila, invited Kalonzo, and the rest, they came together. So if Raila has left NASA, why don't you, as the brainchild, I mean the person who founded NASA, strengthen it? Okay?
Yeah.
Now they have formed Oka.
One Kenya Alliance.
One Kenya Alliance.
Yeah.
And now they are inviting also Raila to come back. So this is just jokers. I mean, joking about Kenya. And now they are saying Uhuru is bringing them together. They met yesterday in Mombasa.
Yeah.
So in a nutshell, I'll tell you this. There is absolutely nothing new Kenyans should expect from these people who've been in government, either together, because if you look at all of them, they have all been in government at the same time.
Exactly.
Either as ministers, deputy prime ministers. Kalonzo has been a vice president. Mudavadi has been a vice president. Raila has been a deputy prime minister with 50-50 power sharing with Nani. He's been a cabinet minister. He's been who else? Except maybe for Gideon Moi,
who is a
Wetangula, has been a minister himself, foreign affairs. And if you look at all of them in their various ministries, there has always been one scandal after the other. Mudavadi, you remember
the cemetery scandal.
Cemetery scandal, but also the other Goldenberg. Then there was a bit of Anglo leasing. Raila, or in his office, Mahindi Saga, Wetangula, minister, the selling of our embassies in Tokyo, Nigeria, and all. So what really new are we expecting? If it's Uhuru himself who they are saying now will bring them together, his government we have seen, he has admitted, but we are losing 2 billion every year.
But you had a proposal as Third Way Alliance, the Punguza Mzigo.
Yes.
What are some of the proposals that were adopted in the BBI report?
I don't know which one they have adopted, because you see, I mean, just to give you maybe a hint of what's happening. You see, when we promoted Punguza Mzigo Kenya, first of all, we followed the constitution. And as you very well know that I was involved in writing the country's constitution.
Exactly.
And when we negotiated this constitution, we put in mechanisms on how you can change the constitution, okay? From Article 255, 256, Parliamentary Initiative, 257, Popular Initiative. Now, we decided to go to the people of Kenya, and we told the people of Kenya, it's almost 10 years since the new constitution. At least it was 10 years since the new constitution. What are the aspects of this constitution that you are unhappy with or could reduce your burden? One of the things that Kenyans were very emotional about, if you recall, was the size of our representation.
It's huge.
It's huge. And we did a comparative analysis. We did not just wake up and say, let's reduce parliament. We actually compared some of the countries like the US, India, China, and ourselves. And Kenyans said, 416 people are costing us, because those are the elected and nominated representatives in Kenya, both Senate and National Assembly. 416 guys are taking home 37.5 billion Kenya shillings annually. Okay? Over and above that, you know the demands by MPs. House allowance, sitting allowance, this and that. And it becomes a very expensive affair for the people of Kenya, taxpayer. Because what kind of employment is it? Like now, the way you're being employed by KBC here, for you to host me, you're saying you want a sitting allowance, even though you have a salary. On top of that, you want a house you want to be bought a house. You want to be bought a car. When you travel abroad, you want to travel business class. So for KBC, that will be too expensive to maintain you. So the people of Kenya said, no, this is too costly for us. We need to reduce this representation because we have the 47 counties of Kenya. That's our also representative. We have the 1,450 wards in Kenya. They are also representative. You know? So why not take resources to the people down there and just maintain a small representation? Because the truth for the matter is this. Hata ukiangalia the way parliament in Kenya today runs, there was no point for waking up to go and elect the 416 people because both houses of parliament are being controlled by two individuals, Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta. So ilikuwa hata hakuna haja ya kuita sijui National Assembly na Senate. Tungerename tu Senate tuite Odinga, National Assembly tuite Uhuru Kenyatta. Because they have failed in their role as representatives of the people. You know, there are three roles that members of parliament should undertake: to represent the people who brought them to parliament, to oversight government, and to pass laws. None of that is happening. One of the biggest failures in Kenya today is its political representation, and that's why Kenyans say reduce them. Our proposal was 1 man, 1 woman from the 47 counties. We'll have a maximum of 100 people. But use that money, send it to the county.
Dr. You are one of the architects of the constitution that we are enjoying right now. It's 11 years now. We are in August. Today is 11th of August, since it was promulgated. What are some of the hits and misses in your own perspective? Are you happy to this far?
Well, I am not happy with the way the constitution is being implemented. You know very well that they are not even implementing the constitution. They are disobeying the constitution. If you look at, for example, chapter 6 of Kenya's constitution, this is probably one of the geniuses of Kenya's constitution making process, because it's Kenyans themselves who said that in our new constitutional dispensation, we want a certain type of leadership, a servant leadership. A leadership that will not lie to us, leadership that will respect us as the people, and it's clearly explained in chapter 6.
But is it being followed in chapter 6
It
itself?
is not followed because the same when we wrote chapter 6, we negotiated chapter 6, we said that parliament shall pass legislation to bring this chapter into effect. What parliamentarians did, they killed that chapter by passing a very lackluster, feckless law that will not even give any teeth to that chapter. Look at Article 104, the right to recall. What Kenyans say that in this new constitution, we want to be able to recall a non-performing member of parliament. What did parliamentarians do? They went and passed a law that made it impossible for them to be recalled. They became a judge in their own cause. Okay? So a lot of this is not being followed. If you look at matters to do financial accountability in Kenya, this is very well explained in chapter 12, public finance, principles of finance. There is no accountability for money. The Auditor General report is not being debated and not being followed. We are still about, I think, 5 years back. Yet this is a constitutional issue. It is a constitutional issue. If you look at Article 10, or national values and principles of governance, things to do with accountability, fairness in government is not being followed. If you look at this Jubilee government, Article 132, 130 sub-Article 2 is very clear that when you form the national executive, you must have the diversity of and the regions and the peoples of Kenya.
Representation.
You can see it's largely leaning towards one region, maybe two more ethnic groups. So the constitution is not being followed. And the reason it's not being followed is because we don't really have leaders who believe in the rule of law. You know very well that even President Uhuru Kenyatta himself has many times disobeyed court orders, including an advisory from the former Chief Justice David Maraga Emeritus, when he was told dissolve parliament because parliament has failed to pass a very important law that will bring gender parity in the country. And he refused. And it's not Maraga who was speaking, it was the constitution of Kenya. So in a nutshell, I'll tell you that the will of the people of Kenya is being subverted by the current political leadership. Because if you look at right from Article 1, all sovereign authority and power vests in the people of Kenya to exercise it directly or indirectly. Now, when you don't implement the constitution, you're actually subverting the will of the people.
Let's take a break, and when you come back, I still ask you: are you still the party leader of Third Way Alliance?
I will answer you.
If you're still the party leader, then maybe 2022 is fast approaching. I'll show the ballot. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. All right.
Rich forever, yeah, yeah.
Let the music play, it's a natural high.
And when troubles come our way,
keep it hopeful and bright.
Draw me to the good reggae style, and the people in Ireland. I stop on the scene and them say, here Rasta. I stick gold and green and them say, here Rasta. Turn up the radio and turn up the music. None shall escape the judgment. There's no way, there's no way out. But in Babylon, there's no escape route. There's no escape route. There's no shortcut out.
What does this number mean to you? A pack leader? A winner? Or just a number? To us, it means freshness, boldness, vibrancy and heritage. That's why at KBC Channel 1, we make it easier for you to pop up your family entertainment to a fresh, exciting and colorful bouquet.
And welcome back. We are still having our, behind the scenes conversation with Daktari Ekura Ukot here. Before we went on a break, I wanted to ask you this question. Are you still the boss of Third Way Alliance?
Yes, I am still the party leader of Third Way Alliance Kenya. And this is by dint of a judgment by the Political Parties Dispute Tribunal. And what has happened really is that, maybe I should give you a little bit of background so that you see whether we can rest this interest people have in Third Way Alliance Kenya. Sometimes last year, you know very well that we promoted Punguza Mizigo.
Yeah.
It was a very successful process that actually we managed to reach about 29 county assemblies. And in going to these 29 county assemblies, the establishment, the political establishment in Kenya, these people who are talking about coalition for 2022, saw a threat in Punguza Mizigo Kenya because it was going to change the governance, the leadership structure in this country. And it was going to uplift the kawaida mwananchi. Anyway, they fought Punguza Mizigo. It didn't succeed. But in the hearts and minds of Kenyans, Punguza Mizigo succeeded. Then they saw Punguza Mizigo as a competition to BBI. Okay? So when we took a break from Punguza Mizigo to reorganize the bill, because we had received a lot of views from 29 county assemblies, we said that, okay, we are not going to throw away this bill just because it has failed in the counties. We are going now to rewrite it afresh, to redraft it afresh. And we did that. Then we relaunched Punguza Mizigo. When we relaunched Punguza Mizigo, it became a threat again to BBI. Remember that time BBI was ongoing.
Yes.
And BBI wasn't even clear what it was doing. Was it public, popular initiative? Was it parliamentary? And if you recall very well, the last meeting of BBI was held at the Lyco Regency.
Yeah.
What the BBI proponents, especially Paul Mwangi of the Secretariat and Raila Amolo Odinga, they approached a section of my party leadership, led by those rebels that we fired last Friday. They approached them and they told them, why don't you bring the Punguza Mizigo proposals to BBI? And it's in the open. They went and presented Punguza Mizigo bill to BBI. At the time, we actually had a case against BBI because we wanted BBI to be nullified.
Which sections of the Punguza Mizigo were they approaching you for?
Basically, they wanted to present the entire bill, Punguza Mizigo, to be part and parcel of BBI.
Right. Okay.
We opposed. We say no. we are totally opposed to BBI because personally, as a constitutional lawyer, as a party leader, as an official spokesperson of Third Way Alliance Kenya, we don't believe in BBI. We think BBI is a con game, it's a lie for Kenyans, and we protested, and the letters were there. So, but five individuals from my party actually went and presented the bill, and that is the beginning of their problem with the party.
Without your knowledge?
Well, of course, we never approved of it. We protested. We even wrote a letter to Paul Mwangi and then Ambassador Kimani. We told them those are not the views of our party. If you take those views, consider them individual. And that's when we began the process of disciplining those members. To kick them out. Of course, they rushed to court. Eventually, the court agreed with us. And you need to read the political party's judgment number 10 and number 11 that says it was proper to discipline those members because they went against the party constitution. The way our party makes decision is this. You have got the National Executive Committee. That is the highest organ in the party. That is the organ that makes decision. I am also the official spokesperson of Third Way Alliance Kenya. Not the hecklers you guys have been hosting here and calling themselves I don't know who. So when they went against the grain of the political party, our party, that's when we fired them. Actually, they were fired as late as last Friday because we gave them the chance to show cause why they should not be punished by the party for going against the party. We have a lot of evidence of interference from within. So yes, I'm still the party leader of Third Way Alliance Kenya. And by the way, I find it very funny that when people ask me this question, you know, I am the founder of Third Way Alliance Kenya. You know, and I actually founded this party, supported it, ran with it.
We'll bring some of your some of the party members to counter
Kenya as a you can only host members of my party who are officials of my party. Not expelled members. You can do that at your own, at your own risk. But
Let me ask you this question. Now we are in a position where we are going to have so many coalitions coming up, and there's this talk of ODM having a talk with the Jubilee Party, and you're yet to see more. In the run-up to 2022 general election, what do you see?
Well, I see nothing in these coalitions. Like I've said before, I've explained to you that the people that you guys keep on are obsessed with talking about 2022 have been in government. I wish you could also tell Kenyans, even as these people form this coalition, as you amplify them, can you also tell Kenyans about the failures of these people in government? You know, I think let's give Kenyans a whole rounded up discussion. It's not just enough to be obsessed about the coalition of ODM with Juhu, Kalonzo Musyoka. Let's also talk about what magic are they going to bring in 2022, which they were not able to perform when they were in government, even together or individually. So I see nothing new. Like I've just given you a bit of history from 1997, 2002, 2013, 2017, up to NASA. So there is absolutely nothing. This coalition is about individual gratification. It's a complete lie. By the way, coalitions in Kenya are the #1 killer of democracy.
#1 killer of democracy.
Exactly. Because in a democratic constitutional democracy, you have the people who win an election, then they form government. There are those who lose an election, they become the opposition. The opposition will make sure that they check on the government of the day. Now, when the opposition goes into government, like now we have seen Raila Odinga, who for a long time has claimed that he is the opposition leader, going into government, and then they are elbowing even their own deputy president. That's democracy dead, because now nobody is able to check on this government. And I think if you are to even say grant Jubilee some praise, maybe I will say that one of the major contributions of Jubilee, success stories of Jubilee, is how they figured out to bring Raila Odinga into government. Because Raila Odinga, who had been in government for many years, knows the system, knows exactly the failures of Jubilee, and therefore he was going to call them out every time. And
two days ago, Honorable Raila Odinga said that he is in government just to give his ideas and suggestions on how.
So then let him then decide: is he in government or is he not in government? Then he should stop saying that he's the opposition, because once you're in government, you're in government. So leave opposition to Akinekuru, Aukot, and others to call on government, because you see, at the risk of bragging, tell me any of these political parties that have actually put and national agenda since the last election, compared to Third Way Alliance Kenya. Let's have a brutal conversation.
Yeah.
As ODM, ANC, Wiper, Ford Kenya, put any national conversation on the table compared to Punguza Mizigo that was driven by me.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason why they are targeting my leadership. And by the way, I'm not the only one being targeted. You know, they started with Wetangula, with his Ford Kenya.
Yeah.
Then they went to ANC. Even the other day, I think Ruto is the one who was complaining and saying they want to take away his UDA.
Yeah.
You know? So the idea of this so-called coalition is remove competition. And you know, one of the things that Kenyans need to think about going forward, they can form coalitions.
Yeah.
But what are the ideologies around these coalitions? These people may have been in government for all these years, forming coalitions of tribal coalitions, but they are very small in ideas. New entrants into the political arena like Third Way Alliance Kenya have demonstrated in a couple of ways that actually we care more about this country. And I'll give you 3 examples, what we have done as a party. In the 2017 general election, a lot of people believe it is actually ODM or Raila that caused the nullification of the presidential vote. It's a lie. It was actually Third Way Alliance Kenya. We are the only political party that did an audit of the transmission of results. And that audit report is part of the judgment of the Supreme Court. And if you remember the words of Justice Maraga, and he said, because of irregularities and illegalities in the transmission of results, we are nullifying the election. Those words were exactly lifted from the audit report of Third Way Alliance Kenya. Not ODM, not Ford Kenya, not Wiper. So that was a major contribution because we said we must follow the constitution. We must protect the vote. That's a major contribution. And then secondly, I'll give you 3 examples. Secondly, in the repeat election of October, the same people now you're talking about coalition did not want actually to go into that repeat election because they don't believe in the rule of law. They are not Democrats. It was Third Way Alliance Kenya that actually went to court and said no. The Supreme Court said go and repeat election afresh pursuant to Article 140, Sub-Article 3. Okay?
Yeah.
And we saved this country from another violence because the people who lost the election wanted some violence to erupt so that they can go into another Nusumukate arrangement. Again, it was Third Way Alliance Kenya that actually saved this country. That's a major contribution. And of course, the last one is Punguza Mizigo proposal. It is pro-people. It's going to reduce the cost of governance in this country. It's going to reduce government, and it's going to send more money to the people. They fighting me because of Punguza Mizigo. So tell me, when we talk about coalitions of these individuals, let's also ask Kenyans, what has been their contribution in terms of ideas that can take this country forward?
And the question is, you've talked about credibility of an election and what have you. 2 days ago, IEBC chair Wafula Chebukati gave us a budget of 40.9 billion shillings to run the next poll. What do you make of that?
First of all, like I said before, election in Kenya, unfortunately, people have made it look like it's a matter of life and death. You know, in other countries, it's not. In other countries, people, as they go to work, they stop by a polling station, cast their vote, and go
proceed to work.
Proceed to work. Here in Kenya, we take a holiday. We think about money. This is Kenya has been judged as one of the most expensive elections in the world. It doesn't make sense.
Would it be because of the representation?
No, because of the personal interest, because of the culture of corruption, because the 40.9 billion that IEBC has announced will be the cost, a big chunk of it will be pursued by tenderpreneurs. Those people who want to print the ballots, those people who want to do, I don't know, this and that. Because let's look at it this way. In the last general election, we spent billions of Kenya shillings. We bought some kits called BVR kits from France. France doesn't use those kits in its own elections. We went to print our ballots in a desert country called Dubai. We sent 2.5 billion Kenya shillings. Dubai does not even have a forest. We have so many forests in Kenya. We have Bant Forest, we have Mount Kenya, we have Boni Forest, we have Webuye, Kibiku, all those forests are there. So why don't we print our own ballot papers? If we can print our money here in Kenya, why can't we print a ballot? And this is just because election in Kenya has become a means to corruption, a means to weak governments. So it doesn't make sense to me. And that's why for us at Punguza Mizigo, at Third Way Alliance Kenya, we have said, let us reduce the cost of election. Let's go and vote electronically. Okay? Today, even as IBC tells us about 40.9 billion, they have not factored in the Kenya diaspora, who are one of our biggest contributors to our GDP. And the law is very clear. And this is one of the reasons why many times I'm so disappointed with Chebukati. Because see, Chebukati is supposed to be at the level of a Supreme Court judge. He's supposed to interpret the Constitution. The Constitution says continuous registration of voters.
Which should be happening every cycle.
Daily. Daily, because IEBC has 47 constituency offices in all the 47 counties of Kenya. For example, I will raise this issue, and I hope we can continue this debate. Why aren't Kenyan diaspora being registered to vote, even from our embassies? Why can't we follow examples of other countries that even send ballots in advance? American citizens, wherever they are, they actually send their ballots. You can even vote electronically. They mail them. So why are we not doing that to our own Kenyan citizens who are actually sending more money here, billions and billions of Kenya shillings? They're actually helping this country develop, but we are disenfranchising them when it comes to decision making about whether their investment in Kenya is safe from a security point of view. Whether the money they send here to the banks is actually secure, because that has to do with the regulation and that's to do with the government of the day. So we are not. ABC is talking about cost of these materials and all that, but they are also not following the law.
What was the Constitution that you sat down and drew? You're part of the architect of the Constitution, envisaged an electoral body to be?
We envisaged an electoral body to be independent, to follow the Constitution of Kenya, and that's why we created a special chapter called chapter 15 on independent commissions, commissions and independent offices. We expected a commission like IBC to be a true referee, not to be manipulated. We expected IBC to follow the law, and to be able, and we expected IBC to actually say, okay, to be transparent, in holding the election. And one of my proposal going forward is this: we want the next IBC, the IBC in the next election, to actually maintain whatever servers it has here in Kenya. This idea that all servers are in France, Marasuji, they are sleeping in France, they have not woken up before we can open them. Why can't we do it here? Like I've given you simple examples. If we can, 25 million of us can transact money. What is so special about a ballot? That's on the phone. If we can print our money here at Delarue in Ruaraka, what is so special about a ballot? Why are we making election a matter of life? And so we are really expecting an IBC that can be assertive, can be firm, that cannot look at itself as if, I come from region X. And that's why you can see there's been a lot of jostling around the appointment of the four commissioners. Everybody is interested. I will expect an IBC that is professional, that I've been given this job, I'm going to serve the people of Kenya, not individual political class, not anybody who is interested in the next formation of the next government. Those are our expectations. And we also expect an IBC that can actually account for its actions. IEBC today should be able to tell us as Kenyans, since you announced the results in October, what have you done since October to date? We are talking about 2019, 2018, 2019, 2020, now 2021. IEBC imefanya nini? Now all the money that we had given them, all those years, how many voters has IEBC registered today as we speak? Last time we went into an election with 19.5 million.
That is in 2017.
2017.
And the projection is roughly 9.
But can they also now account how many Kenyans did they register in 2018, in 2019, 2020, and this 2021? They should give us that update.
So in other words, the registration of voters should be a continuous process.
Should be a continuous process. They should also be telling us what is their level of preparedness towards 2022. You see, what saddens me about electoral management body, They wait until 1 year to election. That's when they start making noise about, oh, we need money, we are not prepared. The political class, on the other hand, is also to blame. Why did Uhuru Kenyatta, in his government, take this long to replace Akombe and the others who resigned? Dr. Kurgat, Machama, and Ann. Why did they wait until closer to an election? This is a process of manipulation. Okay, it is intended that IEBC will be weak, will be disorganized. And by the way, let's also deconstruct IEBC. You see, when people talk about IEBC, they talk about IEBC in the context of only the commissioners. Yeah. IEBC has a whole huge secretariat. It probably has a personnel of 100 plus people who actually manage the election, the presiding officers, the returning officers, the constituency officers, and all those, the CEO, the various directors. That cumulatively is what is IEBC. We talk of IEBC as if it is Chebukati only.
And the commissioners.
Yes. That is the wrong approach. We wanted IEBC to work as an institution, and it is the totality of all those people. And by the way, the other interesting thing about IEBC and this going to 2022, when you talk about IEBC and whether we can trust Chebukati or not, how come people are happy to accept the results of other positions, governor, senator, MP, women rep, MCA,
but there is one which is
contested, the presidential one.
Why?
And yet even people from those political parties that say that our vote was stolen never wanted, they will criticize IEBC and say this IEBC is corrupt, it never gave the right results, but they will never resign their position. So there is an extent to which the political class always wants to influence to ensure there is a weak IEBC. But the challenge now is on IEBC individually, as per the Constitution, to say we are here to deliver a constitutional mandate, not a party mandate, not an individual mandate.
Have we learned from our past?
No, we haven't learned from our past, because one of the reasons why I'm opposed to IEBC, I mean not IEBC but BBI, because BBI started as a lie, and we cannot speak more about it. And in the next 9 days,
the judgment will be out.
They said that let's establish what ails this country. Just to answer your question, we never learned from the past. We have refused to learn from the past. And in one of our communique to even the office of the president and Kenya, we told Kenya, to fix the problems of this country, there are so many commission of inquiry reports. If it is matters to do, for example, with the management of election, we have the Kriegler report that said that in 2007, 2008, the election was so muddled, it was difficult to tell who won the election. Kivuitu himself said they are cooking the results. Then the chairman of ECK, Electoral Commission of Kenya, he actually publicly said they are cooking the results. And eventually he said, I don't know who won. So Kriegler, in his investigation, established if we want to fix matters election, we need to put ABCD into place, create a strong IEBC. And that's why when we are making the constitution, we looked at the Kriegler report and we said, how do we strengthen the electoral management body? If it's to do matters with violence in election, there's the Philip Waki report. Okay? Matters to do with the land, there's the Ndungu Commission report. Truth, Justice and Reconciliation, the Bethel Kiplagat report. There is the Akiumi report on land clashes. There is, I don't know who,
and some of these reports are still
gathering dust.
Exactly.
And therefore, to answer your question in a nutshell, we have not learned our lessons. We have refused to learn our lessons, and probably will never learn our lessons until we get rid of these people who are lying to Kenya every time that coalition this is what is to be. And if you look at, for example, generally, do Kenyans learn a lesson? No, we don't learn any lessons. Let's look at the government of President Uhuru Kenyatta, Jubilee administration. From 2013, they made so many promises to Kenyans. They were even wearing uniforms in suits. And they were telling Kenyans in Kasarani, in 6 months, we'll do this. In 9 months, we'll do this. They lied to Kenyans. They even lied to our children. Who lies to a child? That I'll give you a laptop. It's like telling to a child, I'll bring you a lollipop. Takuletea peremende. Then you come, you don't do that. So, 2013, give and take, none of their promises were realized. In 2017 again, the same Kenyans who voted are the ones who are singing Uhuru Ruto, Tano Tena, They're the ones who are singing loudly. Then they started complaining almost immediately. Oh, this government, corruption, we've lost jobs, this and that. Kenyans never learn. The people now we are talking about for being the coalition, meeting in Mombasa yesterday, they have all been in government. We don't see any tangible outcome with them. We're still talking about them. People are saying Jubilee is generally failed. But look at the debate. Oh, the guy to beat in 2022 is William Ruto. William Ruto has been part and parcel of Jubilee for the last nearly 9 years. So when we are saying Jubilee has failed, are we also not saying that the leadership of Jubilee has failed us? So then why will Kenyans say, oh, this leader in Jubilee is the guy to beat in 2022? There is something wrong about us Kenyans. And I think we need to have a very honest conversation about either our psyche as a people, or just reflect inwards. And let me tell you, at the risk of sounding a bit biblical here, I think we are very dishonest as a society. We are dishonest because if you look at, for example, our so-called religiousness, we are almost largely 90-something% religious in this country, 90 plus. But have we even learned from the 10 commandments alone? Tunaenda kanisa, tunaomba, tunachukua the stand, tunaanza kutukanana. We go to political rallies, we even pray before we start the rallies. The moment you grab a microphone, you start abusing the other person. So generally speaking, our society is dishonest, even just at an individual level. So when you come to the politics, that's when we play our dishonesty even better.
Dr. For me not to be dishonest, let me just say, let's just complete that show like that. I'll be accused of being dishonest.
I hope not. I think we should take it as a challenge to ourselves that why are all these bad things happening in our country? Why are we not trying to fix our country so that everybody is happy? And by the way, I think also, let me challenge you media people.
In 2 minutes.
In 2 minutes.
In 1 minute if you can.
Yes, okay, fine. I'll also challenge you guys in the media. You are the people who are actually propagating this same agenda. You are not telling Kenyans, for example, what do we do with this pandemic now? What do we do with the economy? How do we revive the economy? You media guys, newspapers are obsessed every day. Oh, Raila this, Uhuru this, Ruto this. Na hakuna mtu anakula Raila ama Uhuru.
My colleagues, I'm getting the heat on your behalf.
Yes, because you're the one hosting the show.
I'm getting the heat on your behalf. Allow me to be the person taking the heat. Thank you, Dr. for coming to the show. All right, it's absolute pleasure having you. We've just been talking to Dr. Ekuru Aukot. He was one of the architects of the Constitution, and we just touched a bit of it. He said that he's disappointed now. How it's going to turn out with just a few, 300, slightly over 360 days to go to the next poll. All right, let's take a break, and when we come back, Jen is to be out next with what's happening on the other side of the break. All right, let's take a look at what's happening after this break.
His Highness and Princess bought something like candles at the market, and they went to the temple.
Temple? What would they be doing there?
Maybe they're praying for you, my lady.
I know you feel guilty for all that she's done for you, so I will try to make an antidote for her. Why did Xiqiu suddenly send a convoy? Did anything happen?
I guess we will find out.
Majesty, I have investigated Prince Chin's identity.
And?
Go find out the identity of those three in black. Also, what they're planning to do here in Kidney. Yes.
夜远风伴吹散沉香，香满旗檐上。
Nani huyo ankumwalia madonge mpaka unchafuka kiasi hichi?
Si ni wewe na mpenzi wake huko.
Hapa bwana, jisikie huko nyumbani, unakaribishwa Zari anytime.
Asante.
Karibu sana.
Kwa hivyo kila siku mimi na wakili tutakuwa tuonana eh?
Ah, come on kids. Hilo si lilikuwa ni swali, sasa mjadala ni wa nini?
It's either about me or nobody at all.
I'm sorry. I'm not following this. Where did you last have it, eh?
Maswala yako peleka polisi huko. Sawa, ninachotaka hapa mimi ni mkufu wangu. Period.
Quiero amarte de una forma diferente, de otro modo.
I can't believe this. I just can't believe that Max would let himself get carried away with my wife's issues and let himself get dragged into this mess. Jeez.
Oh, I believe this is now starting to look like it's a crime of passion.
There's no crime of passion here, officer. My brother didn't kill anyone.
This is only temporary, and we'll get Max out of there eventually.
Yes.
We'll find someone else to blame, so don't worry. Yes? It's all under control.
How could you even say that? Max didn't kill anybody.
I know that, and I believe him. But still, I know. We all know he couldn't stand Horacio. You know that.
Quiero amarte de una forma diferente, de otro modo, nunca igual al de otra gente.
There we go. Thank you for staying with us. This still is Good Morning Kenya. We want to get straight into the third conversation for today. And this is all about waste management and in line with environmental conservation efforts. We are living in a time where waste management is something that is a bit double-edged. We have an extreme that can... an extreme part of the population. Let me just fix this. There we go. Some people who are very conscious of the environment and some that don't really understand what this conversation around conserving the environment is all about. And more specifically, when it comes to the water sanitation here in our county. When it rains, we get to see the dire situation that our county is in. And we just want to have a conversation with one gentleman here in studio to help us understand, what are some of those conservation efforts that you and I, as the common mwananchi, can employ to start being part of these efforts to restore our environment to its original glory. With us in studio this morning, we have with us Daniel Wanjoke, who is the director at Eco Save Africa. Good morning, Daniel.
Good morning.
Thank you for making time to be with us today.
Thank you.
All right, now maybe we could start by understanding what Eco Save Africa is all about.
Thank you. My name is Daniel Wanjoke, and I'm the director to Eco Save Africa. Eco Save Africa is a business model modeled on waste management and the circular economy. We try to maximize on the value of what we call waste.
Yes.
Actually, what you call waste in your house could be someone's input for another business. What we've done for the last about 10 years is to incorporate waste management in a way that it becomes a value addition process, and that makes it not what you would want to throw away. Instead, it's something you'd like to keep with yourself and add value to it and give it another life. That's what we are calling recycling, reuse, and returning or
Yes.
refusing. All those salts actually work around the circular economy.
All right.
And that's what we promote.
Now, looking at the people, do you think we are as conscious about this recycling conversation, generally speaking, the population and our habits, especially when it comes to environmental conservation? Where would you rate us?
Oh, okay. Besides us being the jewel of the world,
Yeah.
in that we host United Nations Environment Program,
Headquarters,
yeah,
yes.
right here in Kenya. We also have a national park right in the city, within the city. Now it's within the city center.
Yes.
Because we have covered it around, and being host to so many wildlife and animal species and plant species, Kenya has everything going good for it. We also have one of our champions, Professor Ngale Mathai, who was given a Nobel Prize because of her work with the environment and opening our eyes for the whole world. They actually recognize her for that. So Kenya, we're supposed to be proud of what we have. But then there's also another group that don't care whatever happens. Okay, the Bible says that among other good things, the meek shall inherit the world. I don't think there are meek people in Kenya, because nobody wants to inherit. Okay, if you wanted to inherit this world, you do not want to destroy it.
Yes.
But that group of people called the meek who inherit the world, we don't have good representation in Kenya, because we even find that conservationists who are trying to protect the environment for our grandchildren and great-grandchildren get killed for just that act of trying to protect the environment. So we have a good story for us Kenyans. Very nice environment. You don't require an air conditioner in Nairobi, for example.
Yes.
You can dress the way you are the whole year, and it's a good story for us. But then our rivers are polluted. We recently saw the president trying to urge us not to pollute the rivers, because we are doing stuff upstream in areas like Nairobi, Machakos, but then we are going downstream and trying to do dams. We dam the river, but the water in that river is so dirty that it will be of no use to anyone. So,
and speaking of rivers, we cannot fail to talk about Kenya and fail to talk about Nairobi River. Right. For most part, it is known for the wrong reasons.
True.
And over the years, we have seen rehabilitation efforts being done along Nairobi River, which sadly, it ends up in the Indian Ocean. But what are your thoughts around Nairobi River, looking at waste management and the fact that it is a source of water for a lot of residents in the low-income bracket that live along this particular river?
Yeah, interesting is that, okay, although Nairobi River is named after a cool river in Nairobi, which we actually, it's just not very far from here. But what do you have? A river that you can't draw water from. I would beat anybody in Nairobi from as far as now where we are, near Museum Hill, going down, drawing water from that river. Because that water is polluted, it has heavy metals, it has sewage.
Harmful bacteria.
Even our hospitals, which are actually practical isolation centers, don't have proper management of their sewage, and so all that sewage comes down here, and at one time or the other, there's a sewage breakup at Mudhurwa, and the stuff mixes with rainwater and it goes to our river, so you cannot take that water as wholesome.
Now, when it comes to emerging trends and ways to try and clean the Nairobi River, or just efforts to try and make it more healthy healthy for the consumption of animals and humans in whatever capacity that we use this water, what do you think needs to be done all along Nairobi River, looking at human responsibility, our policies, and also the government's role?
Thank you. In that,
and conservationists especially.
Yeah. Last year there was an attempt to clean up a section of Nairobi River from that passes through the Mishukipaka just across here. And the practical aspect of it cleaning the river was done. We pulled out plastics and the old tires that had been there for years. We also address some source of wastewater that was getting into the river, and the river was smelling. I actually did that part of the cleanup of the river to make it more aesthetic for the park. And so there is practical, we have technology to do that. We have technology to clean up the rivers, we have technology to prevent waste from getting to the river, from our residentials. And then there is a policy. NEMA has a very elaborate policy or regulations on waste management. But as good as those rules are, on the ground, things are different. I'm proud that there is focus on improving, but we are moving too slow. And we have been warned that if we don't do something in the next few years, the environment may tip over to a point where it can go back to the
irreversible damage. And that brings me to this whole aspect of the fact that in Kenya, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, we don't have landfills. And, you know, for the benefit of our viewers, just areas that are designated for waste management, constructed for waste management. Is that one of the problems that is actually allowing for the thriving of this destruction of the environment?
To be very sincere, you don't require a dam site. Nothing needs to go to a dam site.
Yes.
With a circular economy, banana peels and avocado stuff that came from Kisiland and landed at our Wakurima market should be returned back to Kisiland. That waste should be composted within Nairobi, and we sell that fertilizer back to the farms, or give it back, because these people are supplying us food. Why should we deplete the nature of their soil by just taking our stuff from Makurima market and taking it to Dadora? When it gets to Dadora, the organic material, and we don't have a good way of managing that waste. It's heaped and it just starts decomposing. It releases a gas called methane gas. And methane gas is what you use in your biogas system when you capture it and you can cook with it. But in an open dump site like we have in Dadona, there's no capturing of such gas. It ends up in the environment, and the methane has been accused for all the problem we have in form of climate change. Because unlike carbon dioxide, which is used by plants, methane gas is never captured by any animal or bacteria that is within the environment. They say that there are some bacteria that can use methane gas down about 10 kilometers below sea level, where there's no sunlight. But you see, we are not producing the methane gas going to the liver. It is methane gas going up. And when it goes to about 25 kilometers above the surface, it forms a blanket. At night, during the day, sunshine will shine through the atmosphere, warm us and keep life vibrant. But nature requires that heat, excess heat, must be taken back out at night. But then, with a methane layer forming on top of surrounding our environment,
in the ozone,
it's the light, when it's trying to go out, hits the molecule, methane molecule, gas layer, and it's reflected back. That's why at night at 3 o'clock, when in normal circumstances, that's when you should be pulling a blanket closer. It's so warm, you lose your blanket and you don't even know, because it's so warm. That is what we are calling global warming. That daily imbalance, that we received 100 units of sunshine and we are not able to take it back at night. So tomorrow we have 100 plus the 10 that didn't go last night. And so you have 110. It keeps on accumulating like that until you have what we are now calling global climate change.
Because the ozone layer has been compromised. And speaking of compromisation, you know, in this pandemic, we all had to adapt face masks. And these were not a reality for so many people. We just associate them with medical conditions or professions that require the usage of such protective gear. But then now everyone is using a face mask. Our children going to school, and for most of parents, you realize your child does not come back with the mask that they went with, meaning they lost it somewhere along the journey. And when you just walk along the streets, you will come across so many of them. What are the consequences that we are slowly but surely going to see due to the poor disposal of some of these face masks?
Thank you. And this is very important because we had a ban of plastic in Kenya, the single-use plastic, but it is sneaked back in form of masks. They are single-use. They are actually not easy to destroy.
Yeah.
A mask that was actually used in last year March is still available in the environment, and nothing has changed about it. It may be dirty, but it is still plastic. So this is something that requires new policy because COVID converted every household into a hospital. And every household is now generating what we call hospital waste or hazardous waste. But do we have any policy for that? We don't have. The state waste collectors use the same facility to collect your banana waste, ugari that was left last night, and the mask. When it gets to the dump site, nobody won't touch it, of course. The user of the mask could have had COVID.
Yeah.
So it becomes dirty and then not good to use. So this is a new challenge we need to address by teaching our kids how to dispose the mask and to be accountable for everything that they handle in form of medical or related materials like mask and gloves.
What have you?
Yeah.
Now, as we bring this conversation to a close, we cannot close without recognizing the fact that your organization is at the forefront when it comes to representing Kenya in conservation efforts. Tell us a bit about this award here, very briefly.
Thank you. In the year 2019, that's before COVID came in.
Just before.
When we used to have big meetings.
Yes.
There more than 60 countries gathered in a KBC, and the discussion was on sanitation. And during that event, the conference, there were several categories that were to be contested. Ecosave Africa won, number one. That is first position for outstanding innovation for the product EcoTreat Waste Digester. This is a product we have used even in the cleanup of the Nairobi River here, and to get back out the bad odor. We have used it for converting wastewater into something that can be used for recycling. We have used the product to prevent schools from digging new pit latrines every other year, and by using it, we will just introduce a small quantity of our product. It's a powder, 1 kg, and it is so progressive. Gas, the one we talked earlier, it removes methane gas from waste management. So if you EcoTreat product from to Dadora, there will be no methane gas formed. If you use it in managing your pig waste, your kitchen waste,
our septic tanks,
your septic tanks, product gives you back clean water that you can use for greening. And most important, and that's why it's on a global land for a very big award, is that areas one of the dangerous product that we are handling. Recycling, and most important, to get rid of methane gas.
And this reminds me of this whole conversation where we always see exhauster service trucks zinapita zikienda because one would wonder, how do you
Kupata Zaburi 18 mstari wa pili, dial *811 *817 hash. Mwenyezi Mungu ni mwamba wangu, ngome yangu na mkombozi wangu, Mungu wangu, mwamba wangu ninayemkimbilia ninapo